Here comes the next topic, deviations from Mendelian's law. In the last video, we have seen about the dihybrid test cross. So that completes about the Mendelian experiments. Then the next topic of the chapter continues with the deviation from Mendelian laws. That means those were all the laws, dihybrid cross and the monohybrid cross, that laws are being proved by the Mendel, and he has been given the statement and proof for the experiments how the genes are carried from the parental generation to the offspring generation, right? So after that, those are all the normal cases, how the genes will be carried and how the characters will be carried from generation to other generation. But still, we have other differences too. Whatever the parental generation character is having, the same thing will not be there for the offspring generation. Many deviations or many changeovers is going to take place, right? So according to all that observation, the next excluding these direct transfer of genes from the parental generation to the offspring generation, many scientists have been worked on these features, and they have given out the few laws. Among them, the first law will be incomplete dominance, and incomplete dominance is also known as partial dominance. The other name is intermediate dominance. As the name indicates, incomplete means not completely completed. That means it is not completely transferred from the parental generation, only partial, half, such that it is named as partial dominance. Then the other one is intermediate, in the middle. That means it might not be dominant, it might not be the recessive character, it may be middle of these two, dominant and the recessive character, such that this law is named as incomplete dominance or partial dominance, or it's also known as intermediate dominance. So as we all know the meaning of these incomplete dominance, partial dominance and intermediate dominance, let us see the statement of these dominance now. The statement of the intermediate dominance or the incomplete dominance states that the appearance of the intermediate character in a hybrid obtained by crossing two homozygous parents with contrasting characters is known as incomplete dominance. That means the appearance of the intermediate character, when you are going to take the example of two homozygous plants, that one is male, other one is female, such that the offspring should be either carried the dominant character, then the in the F1 generation, as we have learned before, we know that the true parental generation, from the first parental generation, we are going to get the F1 generation such that this that character will be carried by the whatever the dominant character was there, that was being highlighted, right? So but in the case of incomplete dominance, we'll see the intermediate character. That means neither the male nor the female, that both the characters will be carried to the F1 generation. So according to the statement, the appearance of an intermediate character in a hybrid obtained by crossing two homozygous parents with contrasting characters is known as incomplete dominance. So for the first time, the incomplete dominance was being explained by the person Carl Correns. It was being identified by Carl Correns. He has been taken the example of the plant 4 o'clock plant or Mirabilis jalapa. So he's going to take the example of 4 o'clock plant, or the scientific name of the 4 o'clock plant is Mirabilis jalapa. So let us see the proof, or let us see the procedure, how it has been proved the example of these incomplete dominance followed in this taking the example as 4 o'clock plant. So as we know, whatever the crossing over taking place, it must be there the allelic characters. That means some characters should be selected to learn about. So according to that, he is going to select the allelic characters as the color of the flower. One will be red color, that will be dominant character. Other one is white color, that will be recessive character. The dominant character will be red color of the flower, that is capital R. And the recessive character is smaller, which is dominant, which is represented with a white color. So the parental generation, what is taking here is the homozygous red flower plants, and the homozygous male homozygous red flower plant as a dominant character, and female homozygous white flowered plant as is recessive character. So The dominant character always will be mentioned with the capital letters, and the recessive characters will always be mentioned with the small letters. In the same way, the genotype of the homozygous red plant will be capital R, and the recessive character of the homozygous white plants will be small r. So once after getting the genotype, we are going to the genotype are undergoing the meiosis process to the formation of gametes, such that from these genotype we are going to get the gametes as capital R and small r. So here comes, after the formation of the gametes, here comes the gamete formation is over taken place. After the gamete formation, they are undergoing the cross pollination and the cross fertilization, such that after the cross pollination there will be formation of F1 generation. So here, before we have learnt in the monohybrid cross that whatever the F1 generation is being got, there we would have been seen whatever the dominant character is there, that character will be represented. That means phenotypical feature of the plant was represented as a dominant character, either tall or short, right? But here, the presence of the dominant character and recessive character both together, it is giving the different genotype in the F1 generation, right? But here, the dominating character of the plant was having the red color, and the recessive character of the plant is having the white color. But once after the combination of these dominant and the recessive character for the F1 generation, it is going to give the pink colored flower plant. Remember well, once after the combination of these dominant character and the recessive character, in the case of incomplete dominance, here we can see the formation of pink color flower plant, nor the red color nor the white color. It is going to form the intermediate between these two, red and white, such that the next generation plant will be having the pink colored flower plant. So this will be the F1 generation. So followed by the F1 generation is going to be self-crossed to get the F2 generation. So the parental generation 2 is self-crossed with the F1 generation, such that the heterozygous male pink flower plant and the heterozygous female heterozygous pink plants are being crossed. Male and female heterozygous pink plants are being cross-fertilized from the F1 generation to get the F2 generation. So the genotype of the F1 generation is capital R, small r. That's what is being taken here. That is male plant, and the other one is the female plant. So once after the formation of the genotype, there must be the formation of the gametes. So the separation of the gametes are being taken place. One is dominant, other one is recessive. Here same, the dominant and the recessive, such that the 4 gametes are being formed. So after the formation of the gametes, we'll take the help of the Punnett square again to learn or to know what are all the next generation plants are being formed. So here comes the Punnett square of the F2 generation. I have been taken all these 4 gametes over here, R, and here comes. So the capital R is going to give the capital R and capital R, which is dominative character. As we know, when it is presence of capital R, of course it is going to give the red colored plants. It is going to give the red colored flower plants. Then the intermediate character of the capital R and the small r, it's going to give the pink colored flower plants as we've seen in the F1 generation. So here comes the next capital R and the small r. Again it's going to give the pink colored flower plants. And here the recessive character, the combination of the small r and the small r, it's going to give the white colored flower plants. Right? So now we are going to get the Punnett square over here. You can observe the phenotypic character it might be, or it might be the genotypic character. It is completely different, right? That means the genotype is changed. It is going to give the intermediate character in between the true parental generation. That's what, based on these characters, the phenotypic ratio and the genotypic ratio. Based on these characters, the phenotypic ratio and the genotypic ratio will be the same. The phenotypic ratio will be 1:2:1. Same the genotypic ratio 1:2:1. So as we are seeing here, capital R, it will be the red color flower plants, that is what 1, and here comes the pink color 2 plants, that is what 2, and other one was white color, so it is 1. So 1:2:1 is the phenotypic ratio of the incomplete dominance. Next year it's coming about the genotypic ratio of the incomplete dominance. Here comes the different genotypes. That means capital R, small r, and the small r. Here capital R is only one, and the capital R small r is intermediate character, which is of two, having two plants. Other one is small r, which is having the white color. So this is how Carl Carens has been proved the incomplete dominance, that is intermediate character, which is being followed from the parental generation to the offsprings. Neither it is dominant nor the recessive. Both the character are being having intermediate. Now, that means both the characters are having the equal share for the future or the parent offspring generation, such that it has been proved that incomplete dominance is going to occur in the nature by taking the example of 4 o'clock plant or the Mirabilis jalapa. Fine. At the end of this question, the question may be asked for 5 marks to prove the incomplete dominance with the example of Mirabilis jalapa. So here comes the next topic. Co-dominance. Co-dominance. As the name indicates, co means together, working together, or might be having the characters together. Dominance means dominating character. Co-dominance, as the name indicates, co means together, right? Dominance, whatever the characters might be there, it might be the dominant character or it might be the recessive character. It is both the characters staying together to give the different character in the offsprings. Such character is called as co-dominance. So according to the meaning of these co-dominance, the statement is being told as the phenomenon where both the alleles express themselves equally in the heterozygous condition is called codominance. Listen carefully. The phenomenon where both the alleles express themselves equally in the heterozygous condition is called codominance. As we have seen in the case of monohybrid cross and the dihybrid cross, even though the characters, it might be the heterozygous condition, there we have not seen that they are going to carry both the characters. They are going to show only the dominant character in case of in the case of phenotypic ratio, but in case of genotype, it might be varied inside, but we couldn't see the changeovers in the morphological way. But in the codominance, we can see the changeovers by any way. Either it may be the genotypic or it may be the phenotypic. So whatever the alleles are nothing but the characters carrying agents, right? So alleles of each of which produce an independent effect in the heterozygous condition are called codominant genes. Alleles are nothing but the pair of genes which are going to carry the character from the parental generation to the offspring generation. So according to that, whatever the alleles present to carry these characters, which are going to produce the independent effect on the heterozygous condition, are called codominant genes. For these codominants, the best example seen in the nature will be the genes HbA, HbS for sickle cell anemia. As we all know, we are having the blood group. Whatever it may be the blood group, we are all having the same element called as hemoglobin, right? Which is very essential to give the color, red color. Then it is very essential to carry the oxygen for all the parts of the body through the blood or by the circulatory motion, right? So here we are having the hemoglobin A. We are having the genes called hemoglobin A. In the nature, always hemoglobin I will be having in the form of hemoglobin A. But here, once the sickle cell anemia disease, anemia means the blood disease, as we that means where the amount of the blood is being decreased in the body. That is what anemia. Sickle cell anemia means the person called sickle has been identified these disorders, so it's been named as sickle cell anemia. Other name is here the hemoglobin A. Hemoglobin A element is being converted into hemoglobin S. S means the blood element or the blood cell is going to form the S shape. The blood cell is going to form the S-shaped cells. That is how the sickle cell anemia has been named as HbS elements. HbA elements are being converted into HbS. Here the true elements of the hemoglobin HbA and the elements of which are going to form the disease HbS. These both the elements are going to stay together. These both the elements are going to stay together. That means nor the dominant nor the recessive. So these both the elements are going to stay together. So this is regarded as the codominance character in the nature, which is going to cause the sickle cell anemia. So this is one of the disorder example. Other example is of blood group A and B. As we all know, we are seeing the different groups of blood: A negative, A positive, O, and everything. Right? Here we can see the different blood group, that is the combination of the blood group A and B. That means the combination of the A and B blood group, these type of organisms can carry the both antigen A and both antigen B. They are going to carry both antigen A and antigen B together, such that these going to stay, neither the A group will be dominant nor the B group. Both are going to play the same role by producing both the types of antigens, such that this blood group can be given to any other blood group, such that they are going to carry both the types of antigens and antibodies. So these two are the best examples for the codominance. That means both it is not dominating any character or suppressing any character. Both are going to be expressed in the nature, such that these two are considered as the best example for the codominance. So in this video we have seen about the incomplete dominance and the codominance, and in the next video we'll see about the multiple allelism. That means multiple allelism means till here we have seen the for single character it is going to carry a single allele which is having the two genes, right? But in the next topic, as the multiple allele, the name indicates, it is going to carry more than two alleles, more than two genes for a single character. We'll see how these elements are going to be carried, how they are going to play the role in the nature. So by the end of this topic, two questions might be raised. One is incomplete dominance, a statement and proof, that is for 5 marks. Other one is codominance. Codominance is a 3-mark question, and based on this codominance and incomplete dominance, there will be arrangement of questions in your competitive exams.